staying on guard and I don't know, doing what she does. So all good. How are you all doing today? Let's see. Let's see if we have any questions coming in so far. I don't see any. Oh, mic and video all good. Whoops. Thanks very much, Zen. Good to see you as always. Hope you're doing well. And Hamza, good to see you as well. Always in the chat. How you doing? Oh, this is a good question. Can you do bug bounty live SQLi? The thing is if I find a live SQL injection bug on a bug bounty target, I am breaking safe harbor. So not really. This is the thing, right? This is why we do CTFs, because if I do something and disclose it irresponsibly on live stream, then I'm like responsible for that. So, you know, but everything we do on stream in terms of like CTFs and learning and stuff, like it's all relates to the real world. That's the whole point. You know, it's all stuff that we've done, seen in real world pen tests, stuff that we might do on live bug bounty. And we've got a little bit of a short stream today because I still have a ton of work to do today. But we'll probably go for like an hour and we're going to do some Portswigger labs, which I know it's like sometimes if I look at the view stats when we do Portswigger, sometimes the views kind of drop a little bit. But I'm partway through preparing a nice set of APIs for us to do like a nice long stream and also give you guys access as well, so you can like hack along at the same time. But unfortunately, I didn't get it finished in time for today's stream. So you're just going to have to wait a little bit longer for that cool live API hacking session. But we are going to do a couple of API labs today, I think. Just some relaxing ones as a warm-up for next time when we have a nice big collection. So that's it. I did have a couple of questions that I got flagged from the last stream that I didn't answer, and I promised to answer them this time. And that was, what's the first thing you look for when testing a new application? This is a really interesting one. So I suppose you kind of break this down into a couple of different questions. Is what's the first thing you do versus what's the first like bug or vulnerability that you look for? And for me, what is usually the first bug I look for? I suppose it's like cross-site scripting. I think if I'm at a new target and I've done my recon, I mean, obviously, depending on the target application, I'll test different things. But it's either I will test a bunch of front-end stuff, so like I'll look for XSS, or I will test authentication access control issues. I think those are like the main things that I start out of when I'm looking at an application. So I've changed a lot from my old YouTube videos. That's because I'm not the same person. My accent changed a lot as well, huh? So there we go. Let's see what else we've got. What other questions have we got coming down? No, we're not live every day. So only once a week, every Wednesday at 12 ET. So this time slot, we're always live. So either me or Andrew Prince or Andrew Bellini. Very occasionally, Heath is live these days. It's always nice to see him drop into a live stream, but he's a very busy guy. So not every day, but yeah, we're here, you know, every week. And if you want to know more about what we do, we've got a whole YouTube channel of stuff. Of content, so it's all good. Let's see. I mean, there's how am I supposed to answer this question? I'm going to do the practical ethical hacking course. Is it good? Yeah, I mean, of course it's good. It's like the best course out there. That's a very silly question. Let's see. Let me scroll down. Oh, somebody talking about kernel viruses. I don't really know what that is. So I presume you're talking about some things like that. Not sure what happened there. I think my internet just dropped off, but I'm back again, so all good. Oh, this is a good question. Okay, let's start on the hot topic of AI. Good to see you. Maybe it's Jas or Yas? I'm not very good with pronunciation of names, but hopefully I'm somewhere close. What's my opinion on the state of the cybersecurity industry in view of the impending AI floodgates opening up? So, yeah, this is a good question. I think that it's going to be the same as everything else in terms of new technology. So some jobs will for sure be impacted. They won't be entirely replaced. So the example that I use is like the shopping checkout. So when you go to a checkout, if you did it 15 years ago, there's like 30 checkouts and then there's 30 people on each one. Now you have the self checkout or the smart checkout, but you still have a couple of people there who, you know, need to like approve alcohol sales and things like this. So obviously the number of checkout jobs has reduced. And the same for AI, I think. So certain roles will probably be reduced. The job will still exist, but there'll just be less demand for it. And I think that what will happen is we'll see a shift in the industry with using AI tools, and so people will become more efficient or more effective potentially. We already see loads of problems where people are too confident or over reliant on AI and the outputs and trust it blindly, and bad things happen. So we're going to see that. And I think like if you want to stay in a job and you like your job, then use AI tools to make yourself more efficient and more effective. And that's the long and short of it. You've got to adapt to all sorts of new technology, just the same as like pen testing wasn't killed by Nessus. So, and AI tools have been around in the SOC since like as long as I've been in cybersecurity, which is 11 years. SOC tools have had AI in them. So like, like everybody's like, oh, it's brand new stuff. It's like, it's not that new really. Obviously, we're seeing a lot more uptake. And then if you see like Fireship's latest video, so the MIT study is saying that 95% of AI startups have failed. So obviously, there's like a big AI hype train. I don't think it's going to be the same as like Bitcoin, where Bitcoin is completely useless and doesn't serve any kind of function other than hype and scamming lots of people so that a few people can get rich. But I don't think it's quite as bad as that. But like a lot of the stuff that's happening in the AI space is hype. And, every 3 weeks, like, hey, give us $20 billion and we'll give you AGI, in 2 weeks. Oh, it's only going to be another 50 billion in investment and we'll give you AGI. All these promises are all just BS. So, and just type into ChatGPT 5 is pretty good. But again, it's like the 80-20 rule. You're like, hey, write me something, and it's never quite there, especially when it comes to security. It never quite finds exactly what you need. You always need to troubleshoot your code. You always need to double check. It always freaks out sometimes. So, that is my hot take on AI, is that it's useful. I think Heath actually said like it's a great assistant, and that's the trick, is that you still need to be good at what you do. If you are relying solely on AI to do your job, then yeah, AI is going to replace you because you're not adding any value. But as a human, you can bring skills and strategic thinking and other things to the table. So that's it. So that's where we are. I'm not necessarily correct, but that's my assumption. I use AI tools quite a lot, so I do a lot of back-end development and I use AI tools to build my front ends very, very quickly. And generally speaking, it does a trash job of building React apps. So I don't use things like React in my front ends because I'm not good enough to be able to troubleshoot it quickly and for it to be a good use of my time. So again, it can put out some boilerplate code, but it can't give you something that's unique or specific. So that's where we're at. Let me keep scrolling down. Wow, I can see tons of questions. So you guys are going wild today. So let me keep scrolling down. How would I test a web application from start to end if I had 3 days? I would have a terrible report. Let's put it that way. That's the first thing I'd cut. No, that's kind of important. I would test, like, I would really just focus on like critical things. So injection issues, access control issues, authentication issues. If there's like file upload functionality and it's like a PHP app, obviously you're going to focus on things like that. And I would just cut the scope back for stuff that is really critical. I think that's basically all you can do if you've only got a few days of testing. And yeah, I think that's the best way to go, which is kind of like how you do bug bounty, right? So choose your own adventure. Try and find critical stuff. Don't worry about like missing cookie headers. Nobody cares about that, and scanners pick it up anyway. So yeah, I think that's it. And then be honest in your report and be like, hey, you know, only had 3 days. These are the things we focused on. You probably should have some legal stuff in your contract anyway. That's like, you know, if there was something that you didn't find, you're not culpable or you're not liable, because guess what? You don't have infinite time and things like that. So yeah, I think that's how I'd spend my time. Whew, okay, let's keep scrolling down. Is SQL map scanning good for bug bounty live platforms? It's a good way to get your IP banned, that's for sure. But this depends on the target. So there are some like targets that have like sandboxes and stuff. I've never found a bug using SQL map. So, but to be honest, I don't really test for SQL injection that often in bug bounty. I tend to go for logic issues, access control issues, and a few other things. Like I might test for like prototype pollution if I feel like, you know, objects are being merged and things like this. So SQL is not like at the top of my bug bounty testing, but I'm a bug bounty dabbler. I'm not like a full-time bug bounty hunter. So you know, if you see Jason Haddox or somebody like that streaming, ask them and he'll be able to give you a much better answer about like what tools are good in the bug bounty space. So just a caveat that I'm not 100% like a bug bounty expert. Let me keep scrolling down. Oh my God, there's so much. I've lost my place. Hold on, I'm coming back to the chat. And then all right, I'm caught back up. Okay, so I'm at 7:08. Jesus, I'm 10 minutes behind. You guys are chilling 10 minutes in the future, and I'm far behind. Oh, no, I can keep scrolling down. No, I'm not quite that far. Oh, this is a good question. Yeah, actually, I saw some, funnily enough, on YouTube today, I had some IoT Flipper Zero stuff. I think maybe, did Tiberius post one, a short on IoT? That might be why, because I watch his videos. I mean, Andrew Bellini is definitely like the best person to ask for this. But what's the question here? Everyone talks about IoT and taking over cars using Flipper Zero, but nobody ever talks about construction equipment that uses Wi-Fi. Yeah, I would say that the reason that happens is because construction equipment isn't lying around everywhere. So things that like are part of your everyday life tend to get more attention, which is why like web apps and you know, network pen testing is popular, and like SCADA testing is not so popular because it's like a specialist field. But 100%, I reckon, like if you start attacking construction equipment, stuff that connects to your Wi-Fi, my cat's auto feeder, the fridge. My fridge doesn't connect to Wi-Fi, but like stuff like that, you'll find loads of issues. 100%. Security is not really that thought about when stuff's pushed to market, and also devices like that are very hard to patch and update. And like if you're a construction worker, like you're not going to be patching your stuff. You're just going to use it, go to the site, use it, and then come off site. And that's the reality of the world we live in. Is that I mean, when was the last time? I mean, anybody here downloaded the latest firmware update on their router and updated that? I would say less than 1% of people here. I know it's been a long time since I've done it. So yeah, you know, and that's the only thing between me and the internet. So yeah, this is a really, really interesting question, because I think, yeah, it's just because of that barrier to entry, because it's not something lying around every day, it gets less attention, but that means it's probably more of an issue than we think. Like as soon as you pull back the curtain, it's like, oh dear, there's stuff to see here for sure. All right, let me keep scrolling down. Let me keep going. Oh, this is a good one. All right, we'll take a few more questions and we'll jump into a box. I'm a beginner. Can I get some advice on cybersecurity? I seem to be jumping around too much. Yes. So the trick when you're starting out is pick one thing and stick to it. So like pick a course, a paid course, a free course, doesn't matter what it is, but actually see it through to completion. And I think that's probably like you're going to get so much more out of being consistent and just sticking to one thing than you are from like trying to jump around, because we live in the age of content overload where it's actually very easy to publish content and it's kind of hard to get either curated content that is right for you and right for your level, or content that is exhaustive or like complete. I wouldn't say that any course is complete, but if you go for a course or something like that and it's on the longer side, it probably means that it's going to be a little bit more structured. You're going to have less gaps, and at least then you've got like this ball that you can then like build on top of, rather than having like lots of little dots of non-connected knowledge. I think if you do it for long enough, like the dots start to connect, but following a course helps you kind of like initially build a good baseline. So I think that's the trick. Just don't jump around. Find one course and stick to it. Find a creator or a company that you like and go with it. Find something that's popular in your country or your industry that you want to be in and go with that. That's your best bet. Let's keep going down. Oh, I used AI while doing Angular. Okay, how did that go? Because every time I try and build a React front end, I always give up after about 5-6 hours. And now I just use like EJS and Bootstrap, because I know how the templates work and stuff, and I can get it to do what I want it to do. And then if I need components, I can just either write or tweak the JavaScript that does it, because my JavaScript is reasonable. I wouldn't say expert level, but yeah. But I've heard good things about Angular. All right, let's take one more question, and then let's do a lab. Ooh. What's this one? Suggest the best tools you use to exploit bugs and find bugs with maintaining access. I'm not sure what you mean by with maintaining access. I do mostly AppSec and web app stuff, so maintaining access isn't such a big deal for me. Things like persistence. So you're probably thinking more like network pen testing. But if you're just against like, a network, then you can easily use something like Metasploit and get persistence there. But I would say if you're against web apps, then just a proxy. So Kaido or Burp Suite is your best bet for sure. Have I been awarded for finding bugs on HackerOne or BugCrowd? Neither of those, but I have on Integrity, because I signed up to Integrity. So there you go. Like I say, I'm a bug bounty dabbler, not a full-time bug bounty hunter, because between working 40 hours a week and then also working on a side project and then also doing like CTFs and some other things, and then also going to the gym, trying to be healthy, trying to have a social life, that fills up all of my time. So if I had more time, or if I worked part-time, I would definitely do more bug bounty. But for me at the moment, my life is full, and I think I would get something out of doing bug bounty, but not as much as like staying healthy and, you know, going for the occasional run or surfing, for example. So mental health is really, really important as well. And outside of work and my side projects, which probably adds up to like 50, 60 hours a week. Because if I do like 40 hours of work a week plus 10, 15 hours of my side project, which is kind of a secret, but it's going into beta soon. It is actually technically live, but I've not told anybody what it is. Outside of that, that doesn't leave a lot of time for life stuff. So yeah, this is why I don't do a ton of bug bounty, but I do have an account on Integrity and I have found some cool stuff. So there we go. Let's see. Let's do an easy one to begin with. Let's do this. And we'll do like a little bit of a fun run through, and you guys can help me get through it. And let's see. I wish you could. Maybe we should do mystery labs. I wish I could do a lab that didn't have the title, so that we can kind of like work through it. Next time we'll do mystery labs, but this one I've chosen one because I want to do the API labs. So we're all good. Also, I want to get chat's opinion on. So these days, I don't have music on my stream, but I used to. So for the OGs in chat, you guys know who you are. Should I bring back the background music? It was mostly like techno stuff, right? But yeah. All right, let's do this lab. So somebody was asking, like, what's the first thing that I look at when I come into a web application? And the first thing is to click everything. Go through the application, click every button, send every request, create multiple accounts. If there are multiple accounts at different user levels, go for that. So we can like click into here. Oh gosh, it's so slow. There we go. What is this? This 6-pack beer belts, because who wants just one beer? I agree with this wholeheartedly. I don't know why it's only got 1 star. It should have more stars than that. And then we probably have Vina and Peter as creds, because those are always the same creds. And then let's update the email, test@test.com. Our email did actually get updated here. And then we could also have a look, see whether there's some like interesting front-end JavaScripts. So like this lab header.js is like part of the CTF, so we can ignore that. There's nothing too interesting in there. So let's jump to Burp Suite and take a look. Something that I always do is switch the requests so they come in backwards. So usually the requests get sent down to the bottom, but in this case, I like new requests to be at the top, so that I don't have to like keep scrolling. So that's all good. Yeah, there's not much else on here. You can't click these rating buttons and things like this. So let's have a look. So we're grabbing the header here. And then we've got get/products. And you can also, by the way, so if you're in Burp Suite, you can come to the target and sitemap. And then on here, like you can see that we've got this API, we've got image, products, catalog, products, login, log out, my accounts, and things like this. This is kind of a good way to see the structure of an application and to see like specific requests, if that makes sense. Yeah, this is a good question as well. So actually, I think if you come into target sitemap and you kind of get an idea of the structure, I think this is the best way to do it. And then once you realize what you want to test, for example, let's say you want to test like the login functionality, you can just send that and then just look at that small number of requests. So usually I don't just sit and like scroll through and be like, oh yeah, I'm looking for something. I kind of like try and capture everything, get everything into the site tree, and then hone in on like specific requests. So like we might be attacking /post login, and then I can send that to repeater and then do this. Or if it's like a multi-step login, you can always like highlight them. So you can come in and be like, this is green, and then this is part of like the flow. So whoops, this is also green, for example. So you can do stuff like this. That helps you organize. Otherwise, the scope control is pretty good. And you can, whoops, no, I don't want proxy settings. Where are we? You can filter stuff as well. So, and take things out. So you see I just unfiltered, and we've just got a ton of extra requests, which are just images. So we can probably come in, turn off the images. We don't care about seeing those. So yeah. I would say in CTFs, if you're looking for file inclusion or directory traversal, turn on the images and XML and CSS and things like this, because sometimes you'll see something will be like image equals cat.jpg, and then that will be your entry point. Otherwise, you're not going to see it. But to be honest, that's only really CTFs that you'll ever find that kind of thing. So you don't really see it that often in real world applications. So I suppose the first thing is, we know that this is an API lab. So we've got this API/user. What does this give us? So in here, I'm just going to Control R, send this to repeater, and then also Control R, send this other one to repeater as well, so that we can have a look at these requests. So we've got /API/user. We just get unauthorized, which sucks. And then we've got patch/API user Vina. Okay, so this is the email update endpoints, and we can do this. And we actually have a session cookie here, so I'm just going to grab this session cookie, add this to here. Interesting. So when we have /API/user, we get malformed URL expecting an identifier. So I presume this here, this parameter, or this like the end of this path, is the identifier. But let's just test this. Yeah, I think it's like, it's expecting I don't exist or something like this. Yeah, and then we get user not found. Okay, so it doesn't like this request. What can we try next? All right, so question to the chat. We've got these two API endpoints. This one doesn't work. We've got patch, API user, Vina, and what else do you think we can do with this one? I would say there's something kind of obvious that I would just check straight away. But I'll give you all a little idea if we want to change one thing. There's a really simple answer to this question, and it starts with Google and it ends with Google. And if you don't like reading, then it starts with YouTube and it ends with YouTube, and that's it. So I don't even use a Mac, but I'm pretty sure you can Google and figure that one out. Whilst we gather ideas for this API endpoint, Kaido versus Burp. So the main differences, I think, for me, are in terms of features. So Kaido's a lot younger than Burp Suite. So I think Burp Suite has a lot of features and extensions that Kaido doesn't have. But I think Kaido is a lot faster and cleaner, and I like the UI a little bit more. And I also like the JavaScript engine and the workflows and things like that. So, so yeah, that's kind of the difference. I would say try both, see what you like, and then go with that. There's no kind of like right or wrong answer, but you know, there's at the end of the day, I think it's more about your comfortable workflow. I don't think either tool would make or break. Like if I was doing a pen test, I don't think I could use either tool and get good results. I think that's kind of like where I am at in terms of Kaido versus Burp Suite. But I do like the fact that the workflows and there's some other really nice features in Kaido, so it feels a little bit more modern. And interestingly, you know, Kaido pushed a bunch of like updates, and then suddenly Burp Suite pushed some kind of like similar updates, which is good. So, you know, Burp Suite's getting better because Kaido exists, which is quite cool. All right. Did anybody? Ooh, can you patch the admin's email and log into it? So the login was it username and password? Yeah, we got forbidden for this. This is a good test though, for sure. This is definitely something we should try. Can we update other users' emails using our session token? This is a nice start. What I think I would try to do is to see whether I can change the HTTP verb or the method, because especially with REST APIs, like delete, post, put, and get are like the 4 main ones, and most of your APIs are built around that. And so, oh, we just deleted our own user account. Nice. Yeah, user deleted. Okay. Oh wait, no, we deleted the administrator maybe. Oh, let's see if we can delete. I presume deleting Carlos, because Carlos is always the target, whether that's the solution or not. Yeah, we did it. Okay. So yeah, that's it. That's the solution. Is like whenever you have REST APIs, always test the HTTP methods. I wasn't actually expecting that to work. I can't remember what the solution was, but there we go. We're all good. We've actually managed to solve the first lab quicker than I expected. What was the title of the lab? Using documentation. So I'm not sure where this documentation is, whether it's like a Swagger endpoint or something. I wonder if it's just /API. No. Oh, no, there's a redirection. Okay. So the point of the lab is actually to find this. Yeah, and you can see like get, delete, patch. Post is usually there as well, for /user. And then the username string. And obviously they don't have proper access controls on this delete endpoints. So there we go. So that's it. And I've found this like similar things in real world applications, especially in REST APIs. You'll find broken access control like this, where you can delete other user accounts, or you can do things that you're not supposed to be able to do. I think somebody was asking about privilege escalation earlier. This is basically like we've got privileges to do something that we're not meant to do, but this is like horizontal privileges, because we're impacting another user account. If we were able to access administrator only functionality, that would be like horizontal privilege escalation. So a little bit different, but kind of in the same vein, I suppose. Sweet. All right, let's answer some more questions, and then we'll do another lab. I think we've definitely got time to do a couple today. So where are we? Let me jump back into, I can see tons of pinned questions. So oh, okay. This is an interesting question. It's a good one from Samad. Whether a degree is required, or this is more for this, or more experience. I say that it would be better if there was more experience. And then my opinion is this, and then yeah, your message is cut off. So let me just talk about degrees for a second. I think generally speaking, unless a degree is crippling you, or like in terms of cost or time, or for some reason you can't do a degree, I think generally speaking, it's a safer experience than just jumping into industry. And that's because a lot of companies won't even interview you if you don't have a degree. It's as simple as that. So having one opens doors. Does that mean if you don't do a degree and you jump in and you do a year on help desk and you study cybersecurity and get a certification and things like that, that you won't be successful? No, of course you can be successful without a degree. But I think that it's harder, for sure. So I would kind of think long and hard about a degree. And if I jumped back to my 18, 19-year-old self. Gosh, I'm old. So that was a long time ago. Doing my degree, what? How was 19? It's just like 16 years ago. Jesus, I'd be a teenager if I was like, I'd be 2 teenagers if you split my age in half. That's really bad. Anyway, let's not feel self-pity. I would say if I was a student again, just coming out of school, I would definitely go and do my degree again. Now, I live in the UK, so doing a degree is pretty like straightforward, and financially, you know, you get your student loan, and yeah, you'll probably be paying it off for a long time, but it's like a pittance in terms of like the actual cost, and you only pay it off if you're earning over a certain threshold. You know, there's really, if you're in the UK or something like that, there's like a degree is accessible, I think, to basically everyone. That I'm sure there are some edge cases, so don't shout at me if like there's a reason why you can't do it. But in the UK, it's pretty easy. I know that in other places in the world, it's a much bigger decision, for sure. But I think generally speaking, unless there's a good reason not to, I think you should. But if it's really not for you, then I think you can make it work as well. So if I didn't do a degree, I still think I could be successful in my cybersecurity career. I just think it's easier with a degree. I think that's the main thing. So yeah, that's how I feel about it. I could be wrong, but there we go. Best AppSec courses. I think the practical web hacking from TCM is reasonably good if you can get over the instructor's accent, because it might get annoying after a while. That's my hot take on AppSec courses. Yeah, I'm just gonna keep scrolling down and leave it at that. Oh, how do you think to land a security job without having a security internship? So how I would do it now, because when I entered security, there was nobody in the industry, so you could just roll in with, you know, any amount of experience. Join a company that has a reasonably good culture and like, you know, a reasonable IT team. Make friends with the security team and then wait for them to have an opening, or as part of your skill up or development. So let's say you're on the help desk, be like, hey, we're supposed to be able to do 10% of our time to projects that we want to do. I want to shadow the security team. I want to do this side project with them, or I want to be involved in cybersecurity. Moving horizontally in an organization is much easier than fighting through everybody who's applying. And sometimes when a role does open, they'll be like, hey, we know you, so just move over. And there might not even be a role. They might be like, yeah, we can, you know, we could do 50-50. Then a year later, you're like 100% on the security team. That's how I would do it. So there's a big caveat here. You have to be at the right company, and there's no guarantee that you're going to be able to join the right company to do it. But I think this is kind of like a secret way in that a lot of people overlook. Making friends and networking is like, now that the competition and the bar is higher to breaking into cybersecurity, I think networking has become more important, for sure. If that makes sense. So go to your meetups though, meet people, go to B-sides and other conferences that are accessible. And if there isn't one, start a CTF club, start a local meetup at a pub or a town hall and be like, hey, we're going to do some bug bounty or something. You only need like, what, 2-3 people? When I was working at Rakuten, there's a CTF club. It was run by one of the devs, not even the security team, even though like the security team at Rakuten's like 80 people. And they meet once a month at the offices. They book a meeting room and do CTFs, and yeah, it's great. So yeah, that's how I would do it. That's like my secret way in is make friends with the security team. Be a security champion. If you're a developer and your security team is trying to roll stuff out, be the person that they come to implement security stuff. That's also, you know, a legit way in, for sure. All right, let's answer one more question and then we'll do another lab. Oh, this is a tricky one. Is bug bounty worth it as a career or part-time only? I think it depends on the person. I think more and more I've been like changing my view on this. If you're the right person and you love doing bug bounty and you're also reasonably how can I say, like good at holding yourself accountable, I think bug bounty is it can be great. But I think if you're in an unstable place, or if you find it hard to be kind of like consistent and motivated every day, if you're the kind of person who jumps in, does 10 hours and then doesn't touch something for 2 months, or has 100 side projects, maybe you don't have the right setup for doing bug bounty. Now, there are frameworks you can put in place to make sure you do hold yourself accountable, or there are groups that you could join where you all show up, and then that keeps you all showing up and things like that. But I think generally speaking, it depends on the person, for sure. So that's it. And there are plenty of people who have shown that it's possible. So there we go. All right, let's see. What have we got up next? Let's do another box. There's a mass assignment box. And I think I did this one when they first released it, but I haven't looked at it since. So let's look at mass assignment, because this is actually one of my favorite vulnerabilities or bugs or whatever you want to call it. I'm actually just going to restart Burp so that everything is nice and clean. So let's come back into here. Ooh, while this is loading up, I already mentioned life balance stuff. So do I procrastinate? Sometimes, but not as often as I used to. Basically because now I try and do like a momentum thing where it's like, you just have to do 5 minutes. And once you've done 5 minutes, you then keep going and you don't worry about it. Or if I do procrastinate, I'm like, okay, let yourself procrastinate for 20 minutes. And then you have to do like 5 minutes of work after that. And that kind of like gets you out of it. So I think that's a big thing. And not playing computer games, I think really changed my life. I used to play a lot of games and I got nothing to show for it. So, quitting games or like only playing on Saturday, for example, are big things that like have a huge impact on my life. The other big thing that I'm trying to do is stop drinking. That's the tricky one. Is it's easy to fall into a habit of drinking alcohol. So cutting back, I think, is something that I can also improve in my life. But cutting out games was a big one. Going to the gym like a couple of times a week is like consistently has been a big impact on my life. And it's just simple things like that like, as long as you do them consistently, have a really big impact. But I think procrastination is like, yeah, it's a tricky one. It's kind of different for everyone. Not sure, but so let's see. We have an accounts and home, and there's a basket. Interesting, the cart here is unauthenticated, but we might have to log in to actually check out. And usually buying the jacket and the cool Metallica t-shirt, because Metallica is awesome, is the solution to this lab. This looks like one of my Australian friends, actually. Maybe she's actually a model. I don't think so. She's a nurse or something, but I know somebody who looks just like that. And then there's some other stuff. So let's add something to the carts. Place order. Please log in. Okay, so the cart's unauthenticated, but we need to log in to continue. So let's try Vina and Peter, which is our usual stuff. So what's the, I don't have mouse pad on here. Let me come into the terminal and try and explain a little bit about what mass assignment is. So here, right, when we're talking about mass assignment, we might have like a user object. And let's say the user has a username and a password, and they have a role. And then when you create this, right, so the application is probably like, hey, username equals like whatever the input is, password equals like probably the hashed version of the password, but let's just do this. And then the role equals, could be role, but then like it might default to user or something like this, or it might just be user. Or it could be just null, like or blank or something like this. So if our request comes in, and let's say our request looks like this, like this, and let's say we're posting to /register, and let's say we have username is Alex, password is password, best password ever, and that's it. And here in our application, it just says const new user equals, I can't remember the exact syntax, but the data that's passed in. What it's going to do is it's basically going to create like an object based on everything that we pass in. I think it's something, is it something like this? I can't remember how to use the spread operator. Like, ignore my terrible syntax. But basically, what we're saying is anything that's passed in here goes into, let's just do like, is it like this? Request.body. Somebody who's like good with code can figure this out. So the point is here that we're creating an object based on everything that's passed in. And this is a great feature for developers, because when you have complex objects that have like 1,000 different parameters or 1,000 different attributes inside of them, and some of them are optional, some of them are not optional, maybe you want to make sure that you just, instead of going through every single thing that the user posts and being like, yep, let's take this, let's put it in the object, yep, let's take this, let's put it in the object, you can just take everything here and throw it into the object, if that makes sense. And so here, what happens is if we pass something like yo-yo test, you might get a situation where a new property exists in our object. So this actually might be created dynamically. Or what might happen is that something that is set to null by default, if we set this, so we can say, hey, role equals super or root or admin or something like this. This might actually get unintentionally set by the application. So by default, maybe the developers looked at it and they're like, we're only taking the username and password. By default, the role is user, so we don't have to worry about it. But then when we actually pass it in unexpectedly, or maybe when we update our account unexpectedly, things can be a little bit crazy. So we might get, instead of this, we might get something like puts / API / user / Alex, like this. And then in here, we might be able to set an attribute that we shouldn't be able to set. So like role is role is Alex, role is admin. I wish Alex was a special role. It's not, unfortunately. So this is where mass assignment comes in, and we can basically add, edit, or somehow influence or misuse attributes within objects, within applications. And so we know that this is a mass assignment vulnerability, and that's basically what we're looking out for. So we need to find an object in the application, try and figure out what its parameters might be, or what its properties are, or attributes are, depending on what language you're using. Like, they're all kind of the same thing, maybe what its elements are, and then try and manipulate them for some impact. So that's basically what we're trying to do with this. I really like mass assignment because it does pop up in a lot of frameworks as well. So yeah, this is pretty nice. So we do have /API here. And again, we can come to our target and come to sitemap and be like, hey, what are the APIs that we've got? So it looks like we've got one API here, but we've actually got two endpoints. So one endpoint API checkout, but we've got get and post. So that's useful to know. So if we look at this, you can see here, okay, so this is important. So we've got get/API checkout. I'm going to send this to repeater so that we save it, but we could always come in and highlight this as a interesting request. Chosen discount percentage is 0. Now, if we come back to the application and come to the carts, it's 0. Let's add the jacket. We don't have a way of doing the discount as far as we know. It could be like a hidden endpoint. Maybe it's like some unused functionality. Maybe we can post to /discount. That's a whole nother thing to look at. But I think in here, we want to look at this. And then we've got chosen products, or frozen products, whatever it might be. And then the name, quantity, item, price. What else have we got? So we've got post to cart. So this is the product ID, the quantity, and then a redirect. And then we logged in, and then we're getting the cart. So this is just the cart, fine. And then we've got API/checkouts. So this is different. Oh no, this is the same. Get/checkouts. That's fine. So this is the same, but it's the delete jacket. And that's all we've got. So what I'm thinking is we can either two things. One, we can either modify this request and maybe change it to a put request so that we can modify these properties, or we can try posting to the cart with this structure in mind, if that makes sense. So either way, we can, we can try and figure it out. So let me come to here. Where are we? Repeater. We've got this one. Oh, that's not what I wanted. Let's send this to repeater. Since this is the API endpoint, I think let's test this one first. So if we do puts, and then we grab this, and then put this in here, and then if we update the content type, which doesn't look like we have, application JSON, like this. Let's see what happens. So we can't put, so we can't update, unfortunately. Can we post? Let's just copy this content type header and pop it in here. So I'm not sure if anything actually happened. Let's change this to 100. So we're not getting any response. Oh, so we're getting 201 created. I'm like, where's my response, yo? What's going on? But I just can't see this top thing. So we've got cart order confirmation true. And then, that's it. We solved it. That was not as climactic as I was hoping. So yeah, basically what we did here is we found that this chosen discount object exists, and then it has this percentage property, and then we can pass that as well. And so the application just basically trusts our input as long as we're using the structure that it expects. So like if we tried to do this, for example, cost, it actually still creates it. But within the logic of the application, this probably doesn't do anything because it's actually looking for a different parameter, but or a different attribute. But there we go. So mass assignment, super interesting. It does kick up in a lot of frameworks and APIs, so this is definitely something to keep an eye on. And then maybe what I would also think about doing is if we didn't have this chosen discount, when we're posting to the checkouts, we might be like item price 0, for example, and overwrite some of the properties like that exist in here and be like, hey, can we check out with this? We don't need that trailing thing. And we still get 201 created, but in this case, we get insufficient funds, unfortunately. So it actually checks the price against the database and not the price that we're providing. But this bug for sure exists on some applications where you can basically provide a price that overwrites and the application will check the one that you're providing and not the one in the backend. So this is basically how mass assignment works. Yeah, are you AI? Is Josh AI? I've just seen this. Josh is legit not AI, but maybe he is. Maybe I don't know. Maybe his camera in our team meetings. I don't know. What do you think, Josh? All right. Nice. Let's see. Oh, are there any sales coming soon? I mean, we had our summer sale not that long ago, but like I can see some people talking about student discounts. We definitely do like emergency services and some other discounts as well. So drop an email into support and they'll let you know if there is a student discount. I can't remember off the top of my head. It's been a long time since I was a student. Here we go. Yeah, spread operator from Ruined Matter. That's it. Sorry about my terrible syntax. It's been a long day. So and it's been ages since I used the spread operator. So there we go. So we have a Discord community. Like TCM Security has a Discord. I think we've got like 50 or 60K members. So drop in anytime and chat about whatever it is you want to chat about, but don't ping people. So one of the rules that everybody breaks when they first come onto this Discord is they ping people. So there's no there's a rule, I think it's rule 2, don't ping people directly when you join our Discord. Otherwise you'll have a great time, but if you do ping people, all of our regulars will be like, whoa, bam, and you'll have a bad time. So that's it. All right, let me take 2 more questions and then we'll finish up for today. Where to start learning? I don't think you necessarily have to cover absolutely everything. I think following a course is a great place to start learning. I would start trying to get through some fundamental courses, building up a methodology, and then after that, you can then start to add things to it, if that makes sense. If you try and learn just every bug or vulnerability, you're going to lose sight of the overarching context and you got to be able to build a methodology. Web app pen testing is more than just checking for individual bugs. It's kind of it's a process and understanding your target and things like that. So yeah, but I mean, that's what courses are for. It's not the answer that everybody wants, but that's the way. Even me, so I've been doing, I'm 11 years in security this year, and I still do courses. I still learn from other people and things like that. Even in web app pen testing, I still look at what other people are doing and try and learn from them. It's a never-ending cycle. All right. I think that's it for today. I don't see any other burning questions. Let me jump into the pinned ones. Oh, yeah. I haven't seen this in a little while, but do I keep track of websites that store user credentials in plain text? Yeah. Which web app was it? The last one I found was Wiley Media or Wiley Publishers, but this was years ago, so they might have updated it. But one of their web apps, especially since they published security books, it was quite funny. They emailed me my password, but this was years and years ago, so this is not like me, you know, being mean to them or anything. I used to, because we used to find this a lot, but it's been ages since I've found a web app where you reset your password and it's like, here's your password in clear text. Usually, like, you report it, you email it to them, nobody cares. Unfortunately, that's just the reality of it. But if they have a bug bounty program, that's a legit finding. I think it's a good weakness to keep on the to keep an eye out for. So all good. All right. That's it for today. Hope you all have a good rest of the week. Thanks so much for tuning in. Next time, I promise we'll have like a proper set of APIs and we'll do more of a deep dive. I just haven't finished building them yet. I'm a little bit behind. I was off work yesterday, so still trying to play catch up this week. But yeah, have a good rest of the day, everybody. Thanks for tuning in, and I will catch you all next time. Thanks, everyone.